Hello, Planeswalkers. Sorry, my voice is doing something today. Want to give a shout out to Solar Games. Mark has given us the history of Time Spiral Remastered. That was a set that I missed, and I really didn't know what it was until people started talking about what Dominaria Remastered is. I'm starting to have a feel for what it is. It sounds cool and everything, but I know that I don't really want those cards with the meteor on them that are foils, because they're not the original. I mean, having the original foil when it was rare and everything is a cool thing, but I don't really want those foils. That's just me. I would also encourage you, when you go and buy these expensive boxes, do this math. Take the booster packs, the number of booster packs, multiply it by the number of cards in it, which is usually 15, and then remember that number and take the price that you paid for that box and divide it by that number that you're remembering. And it will be very enlightening. I remember when I first started playing Magic, it was 15 cents or 20 cents a card. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of a lot for a piece of cardboard, you know. But then you got some $5 cards in there if you got a Planeswalker or whatever. And I was okay with it. But when you start doing the math for like $300 or $400 sets, it becomes kind of crazy. And then if you're paying and do the math for WotC's 30th anniversary too, that will be very enlightening. But then you start to think, okay, I used to pay for a regular booster box that was like around $80 or whatever. I used to pay like 15 cents a card. When I bought what they called fat packs, it was like 20 cents a card or whatever. Starter decks were like 20 cents a card when I bought them when they first came out. Okay. But then when you start taking $300 Masters boxes or remastered set boxes, maybe you'll pay $400 because you'll miss it and then you want it later on. Think about that versus just buying individual cards. You can buy really cool old cards for like $1. You can buy spectacular, fantastic, really collectible cards that are going to retain their value because they always have, for like $20 a card. You can go back and you can buy like bulk sets for like from Mirage or from Alliances. I just bought some on eBay for like 80 cents a card. So I would rather pay 80 cents a card for cards from Mirage than I would from a Masters set. Doesn't that make a lot more sense? And then remember that you can buy bulk. My normal place I buy bulk is like 3 cents a card, but you can buy bulk as cheap, if you keep an eye on it on eBay, 1 cent to 2.5 cents a card. You can buy bulk. So that's a way that you can fill in the old cards. And I would rather have the old commons than I would the new commons, because they have to throw, as Mark from Solar Games says, they have to throw some crap in there. That's just the way the economy works. I would rather have the crap from old sets where they're out of print than I would the new ones, right? Makes a lot more sense. One more thing I want to talk about too is DnD. They're starting to mess with the D&D players like they promised they would in the fireside chat. There's this thing called the OGL where there's an agreement. The GL stands for game license. I can't remember what the O stands for. But there's this agreement that people can produce scenarios for Dungeons and Dragons or whatever they call them, encounters or whatever they call them. And they can actually make money on that, what they put effort into. Now, WotC wants to go and charge royalties for that stuff. So they're really going after the D&D players. I've been not watching as much Magic on YouTube as I've been watching D&D. It's very interesting because apparently there's a lot better stuff out there than WotC's stuff anyways for D&D players. I enjoy, and it makes money for WotC, I enjoy the board games for Dungeons & Dragons because I like painting the figures and everything. So WotC makes some money off of me for the D&D, but I only have one of those boxes. I actually paid nothing. I got it as a gift, but I would consider buying boxes like that in the future. And I want to support Wizards of the Coast because I've told you that I have stock and everything, and I always want to buy from myself. I want to support them, but I don't want them to do it in a stupid way where they're ripping people off and getting everybody mad, which will hurt the brand and the company in the long run. I don't want them to do it that way. That's not going to be a good way to do it. So just my feelings on it. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you, Planeswalkers. Take care.